From their homes by an insurgency that has lasted more than 5 years. Internally displaced persons in Nigeria's northeast suffer appalling poverty, malnutrition, and are prone to diseases.
And this is despite the enormous resources invested in relief efforts by the Nigerian government, individuals, and international organizations. The United Nations in 2016 warned that more than 400,000 children could suffer severe acute malnutrition and may die if something was not done to address their situation. The report also indicted government officials of diverting food and other relief materials meant for these helpless Nigerians, an allegation that was immediately refuted by emergency response agency and state governments in the affected states.
Now, when pictures surfaced on the social media showing food aid meant for IDPs on sale in shops with logos of aid agencies, the issue was thrown into the open and headlined many public discussions at the time. Now, frustrated by the hardship that faced, internally displaced persons left their camps to stage a protest in Maiduguri, that's Borno State capital, to demand more aid, accusing camp officials of stealing and selling food rations meant for them.
That protest and, of course, the disappearance of bags of rice and grains meant for the IDPs prompted President Muhammadu Buhari's order for the Inspector General of Police to arrest all persons accused of stealing food meant for IDPs.
All right, joining us now via Skype from Maiduguri is the former chairman of Borno State Emergency Management Agency, Grandma Tarab. Grandma, good morning. It's good to have you join us right now.
Yeah, good morning. How are you?
Well, we are okay. I hope you're fine too where you are. Now, I remember sometime having you on the program here where we discussed this. If we have to fast forward to where we are now, we still hear that relief materials meant for IDPs are still being stolen. Can you confirm, can you give us a situation since you are in Maiduguri?
Yeah, the situation still goes on, and that is why the major concern for the IDPs now is for them to return back to their communities. There's a huge call by the IDP community that they really want to go back, and the government have promised their return to their localities before the end of this month. And now it turns out to be abortive because the National Emergency Management Agency just made a statement last week that they can't return the IDPs. They are becoming so worrisome in the IDP camps, and the IDPs are becoming so agitated and frustrated. The diversion of food items continues as before, and we have seen how the local government officials were prosecuted just last week. 2 of them were sentenced to 2 years in prison for diverting the Danish Refugee Council food items. So the story remains the same. There wasn't any change as of that, and it is same thing. And the IDPs have almost given up the issue of complaining and talking about their situation. It is frustrating, and nothing has been done.
Okay, all right. Good thing you mentioned NEMA and SEMA. They are also found culpable in this case because what we hear is that the local officials work in cahoots with NEMA or SEMA to get this food out. And also, traditional rulers in Yobe State, for instance, have also been indicted. What's your take on that?
Yeah, they are all involved. Nobody can have access to the food items apart from the officials, because we have seen the video that went on social media, name of food provided by National Emergency Management Agency, supplied to various IDP camps, and some of them are kept under custody of the
All right, Grandma, let me put you on hold. We seem to be having a distortion from your area where you are. Let's go on a break and then we come back on this. But don't forget, right now we're going out on TVC Entertainment. Right, if you're just joining us, you're watching TVC Breakfast. And we've been talking about the wanton stealing of relief materials that meant for IDP camps in northeast in Nigeria. We have a guest, Grandma Terab. He is the former chairman of Borno State Emergency Management Agency. He's been talking to us on Skype from Maiduguri in Borno State. But before we go back to him, let's give you some updates on the news. Senate President Bukola Saraki has assured the Italian Parliament of the National Assembly's cooperation in efforts to stop international human trafficking.
Senator Saraki hosted the President of Italy's Chamber of Deputies, which is the country's lower house of parliament, Laura Boldini. The visiting Italian delegation congratulated Nigeria on the release of 82 Chibok girls and urged world leaders to unite in the fight against terrorism and human trafficking.
The Liberian government says medical samples from 4 of the victims of a disease in the country that initially baffled scientists have tested positive for a type of meningitis.
Minister of Health, Dr. Bernes Den, says 7 specimens from the diseased tested positive for Neisseria meningitis, a particularly contagious type of bacteria. Dan says the government is investigating options for mass vaccination against the illness characterized by swelling of the membranes in the brain and spinal cord.
Now, further laboratory analysis is also underway. Now, so far, a total of 31 cases of the so-called mystery illness have been reported.
A Massachusetts man accused of slitting the throats of 2 doctors in their Boston penthouse will be held without bail.
Now, this is after a bedside hearing. All right, that's a news update right now. Let's get back to our discussion. We told you earlier we've been following developments from the northeastern Nigeria, people who were displaced by the insurgency there, held in camps, internally displaced people's camps, and relief materials meant for them have been stolen by some say officials that are meant to cater for them, and others say, well, mystery, the hand you can't see along the route of delivering materials, and things get missing. But we have the former chairman, Borno State Emergency Management Agency, Grandma Terab, with us on Skype from Maiduguri. Now, Grandma, give us an idea. How just difficult is it? Because if it has been identified that relief materials were actually sent, and there's an account of relief materials being available, and then somehow relief materials are missing, how difficult is it to unravel this whole situation that has taken so many months and even running into years?
Well, there is not any deliberate effort at the side of the government to curtail this stealing or diversion of food items, because all this prosecution and all this the issue of diversion is being with opinion. Nobody was seriously prosecuted, and there wasn't any deliberate effort from the side of the government or sincerity of purpose to make sure that foods are henceforth not diverted. There is no any itinerary that shows that this is how the food comes in and this is how it goes out. What it should be done is that there must be a proper bookkeeping record of what National Agency Management Agency has provided to the state government and what the NGOs are bringing in. So that when SEMA is having the custody of these food items, the NEMA and the NGOs should also track all the food items meant for the IDPs that are going in and out of the camps. There should be a committee that should be responsible for receiving these food items in the camps, and how to distribute it must also be transparent enough so that the IDPs will be involved by themselves. But it is a situation whereby few officials are running the affairs of the food items, and in collaboration with some civilian JTF, with army personnel and police personnel, so that nobody knows what is coming into the camps and nobody knows what goes out. So nobody is following any track and nobody is keeping any track record properly, because since the call on the president, when the president made the call for the security agencies to make sure they investigate the whole issue, and nothing has been done, nobody has been prosecuted. What we have seen, the prosecution that was taking place last 2 weeks was done by the Danish officials. They reported their issue, and they took the matter upon themselves, and they took their lawyers. They had to press on the government to make sure they prosecute those that diverted their own food items. The Danish Refugee Council officials.
All right.
Not the state government and not the federal government.
In so many words, Gerem, in so many words, you've indicted the Nigerian police now because the order was given to the IGP to do something about it and nothing has been done. And also, in so many words, you've indicted NEMAR officials and SEMAR officials and, of course, the police and the army that are attached to these camps, because nothing goes in and out of those camps without the permission of the armies or,
yes,
or the police attached to the camp. That's what you're saying in so many words, just so that we are clear about what you're saying right now.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. There's no way food will go in and go out of the camps without the knowledge of camp officials or the security involved in taking care of the camps. These bags that were being sold or rebagged are NEMA bags. They are branded bags. They are not just empty bags. So, and NEMA up to now have no statement with regards to the food diversion, with regard to the stolen food items. They have never indicted anybody, have never shown any concern that their food is being sold in the market. And there are a lot of businessmen that were involved in buying these food items in Boloristo and Monday Market. They are well known to everybody, but nobody does anything. So they are part of whatever that is going on in the camps and in the IDP communities. So that is why, as I said earlier, the IDPs are tired. They are fed up of staying in the concealed IDP camps.
All right,
Grandma. Yeah, Grandma, Grandma, sorry, let me ask you this. Now, in this indictment, who do we hold responsible, really? Is it the federal government who should prosecute these people that is failing, or is it the state government that is closer to the people? Who should we hold responsible?
The state government, of course, since they are the custodian of the IDPs. They are the custodian of the IDPs. These release materials were brought in by federal government agencies or NGOs. While they are helping the state government, they are complementing the effort of the state government. It will be the sole responsibility of the state government to take care of these IDPs.
All right. On the flip side, I thought you were done. On the flip side, are we together? On the flip side, there are also allegations of the IDP people themselves, people who live in the camp, selling off these goods themselves to make some money. Okay, they don't need food. Maybe they need some cash. And that brings to the fore the issue of need assessment before things are brought to the IDP camp, that the NEMA officials, the NGOs don't even carry out some kind of need assessment. Okay, what do you need per time? So if you bring rice now, when they don't need rice, then they have surplus of rice to sell.
Well, there is nothing like need assessment in this state or the IDP issues at all. Well, honestly speaking, the federal government also less care about the welfare of the we must have kept on aligning and alerting the federal government that these foods are being diverted and the IDPs need a lot of things about it. But they refuse to listen, and the state government doesn't care. They care less. So, and the issue of that maybe they don't even need food or they need some food, some items. It is not there is nothing like that at all. They always need food. They are hungry. So when you see them selling food items, they break some portion of the food items to buy firewood and buy some condiments because they cannot eat raw food uncooked. They cannot eat raw maize uncooked. So they have to sell some portion of the food items given to them to buy firewood, to buy condiments. So nobody ever gives them soap, nobody gives them body oil, nobody gives them bathroom slippers. Now it is extreme hot in Maiduguri, nobody gives them sanitary pad. So they have a lot of needs and nobody cares about what they do in terms of their needs. So the state government that is the full custodian of the IDPs should be held responsible, because if NEMA is bringing food items just for you to provide condiments and firewoods So if you cannot meet up to your expectations, so there's a serious problem. If NGOs are also complementing your efforts, they provide all sorts of support material. And if the state government cannot provide as little as firewood or charcoal to make their food eatable, so there's problem. Nobody gives them bathing soap. Nobody gives them bathroom slippers. You can see there are a lot of young kids in the IDP camps, and it is extreme hot here in Maiduguri. It is almost 40, 45 to 50 degrees hot temperature. So something must be done urgently, because otherwise it is almost 2 years. We have been saying the same thing. We have been speaking the same thing over and over. There is no any deliberate effort, either from federal government to make sure they curtail the whole issue, or from the state government to bring an end to this matter. The people of and call a very big summit to have a luncheon for the victim of insurgency, so that they will start doing things on their own, since the government is not forthcoming. The government deliberately asked the security agencies and the traditional rulers to happen. They said the
all right,
government
Grandma.
is equal to the task. Why should some people come together and look for donations from private individuals, so that nobody should come up with something like this? So
all right, Grandma, let me put you on hold. Yeah, Grandma, let me put you on hold. We will go on a break and then we come back. There are still much to understand with what's going on with IDPs in Maiduguri. Stay with us on TVC Breakfast. We'll be right back after this time out.
Nice to have you back. You're watching TVC Breakfast, and we're looking at the plight of those who are the IDP camps. And of course, according to Mike, the wanton stealing going on in the place, really. And we have with us in Maiduguri via Skype, the former chairman, Borno State Emergency Response Team, Grema Terap. Grema, it's back to you now. We've laid the foundation so far on the issue of indictments and who to blame, and of course, the issue of needs assessment. But there are also issues of money even exchanging hands, and the people themselves claiming the money that do not belong to them. For instance, the Red Cross had, in Yobe State, for instance, has a system, a mechanism where they give this IDP camp some people money to do business or to do some other things, and they are given ATM cards to get this money. In the occasion where monies are given to people and some other person goes in with the ATM card to cash this money, how can that be checked?
Well, what the Red Cross normally does is that they liaise with a bank, and they make sure they gather them in a particular bank and give out the money. So it has been done in all the states that are affected. They have been carrying out this assignment in Adamawa, Yobe, and Borno State, respectively. So what they do is that they take one weekend and choose a Saturday where all the IDPs will converge in the bank premises and issue out the cash for them, alongside the security agencies and the officials of the Red Cross and other humanitarian actors. So the main issue is some of these IDPs have no access to go out of their camps or where they live. Some of them are not even conversant with what ATM is. So they have to entrust some camp officials to bring them the monies that is meant for them, and sometimes
all right, we still have some connectivity issues in there. Now, when we'll try to establish the link and have Grandma Terap back on Skype from Maiduguri. Now, the point there is, the question I'm going to ask him when he comes back is, the IDPs, like the report we played earlier on. Okay, I understand we have Grandma back now. Grandma, let me ask you this. The IDPs, many of them they want to go back to their homes. They want to leave IDP camps and go back to their normal lives. But how safe Are there homes and villages for them to go back to?
Well, their homes and villages are relatively safe. We can't say they are completely safe, because we all know the issue of insurgency cannot finish overnight. We are all aware how Afghanistan over a decade is still suffering from some fringes of attack by insurgents. We are also aware of the Somalian situation for over 2 decades that have been containing and managing the situation of insurgency. So also in Iraq and Libya. So what we are now telling the federal government and the security agencies is they should return back the IDPs to their various communities, so that the IDPs will start fending for themselves and will also play a role in securing themselves. The IDPs, the community will work hand in hand with the security operatives to make sure they create a serene environment, a secure environment, so that we live a normal life. People of Bama local government have the highest number of IDPs. About 80% of the IDPs are from Bama local government. So if government can return or relocate the IDPs of Bama local government, will so please pick up their business activities. A lot of business activity is going on.
All right, we seem to have distortions from the Maiduguri end of discussion where we have Grandma Terab. Well, I guess this is where we have to leave it there. Former Chairman, Borno State Emergency Management Agency, Grandma Terab, talking to us on the situation of IDPs, the plight of IDPs there, where there are food and materials, relief materials donated by agencies, even government officials, international organizations, individuals, and agents and NGOs are being stolen by officials who are meant to cater for them.
We'll leave it there, but perhaps we can just really talk about that. There are allegations of the big wigs being involved in this syndicate going on. The allegations, even don't forget the Pine issue. That's a serious issue that we need to look into. And of course, that of senators even in that particular place. They get constituency money for constituency projects and all that. Where is it going?
That's because the allegation you're talking about is widespread.
It is widespread.
We hope that investigations will be carried out. We hear of the Pine issue, involving the SGF, and then we know that there are others allegations. Others are there also who are called, who are named, and all of that. But we leave that to government to handle. I understand we still have Grandma back now. If the lines are clear, let me ask you this question before we let you go now. Now, this news or the story of relief materials being stolen by officials, is it affecting the response of people donating and giving to IDPs?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. There is serious issue of trust. Most of the donor agencies are no more satisfied with the way the government is handling the matters. That is why they are holding on to a lot of relief materials that are supposed to be given out to the IDPs. So as I said earlier, the return of IDPs is very key, so that people will quickly go back to their businesses. As I said earlier, the people from Gamborungala return themselves without any government support to their community. And by doing so, they quickly pick up business activities, cross-border trade amongst themselves, across Chad, Niger, and Cameroon with Gamborungala. And a lot of youths, over 100 or 200 of them, have testified that they've earned over 1 million naira as profit. So if government continues to keep IDPs in Maiduguri, IDPs will continue to die and nobody talks on their behalf. So government must do something urgently to return these IDPs. Donor agencies no longer trust the government. That is why they want to be doing things by themselves. And in the process of handling the affairs of IDPs by themselves, they get frustrated by getting security escorts, by getting security clearance, by getting clearance from the government agencies, because the government feels if they are not going to do it by themselves, so they have to follow some bureaucratic bottleneck. So it is so frustrating for the NGOs to live, survive, and donate in Maiduguri here. But nevertheless, people are now tired. People are tired. They want to go back to their various communities. They are ready to help the security agencies in securing their communities. They want to go back to farming activities. It's been 4 years that there has not been farming activities in Borno State. So they want to start farming. And as I told you last time, an NGO, Burma Initiative for Human Development, decided to come up with a very big program, invited people, dignitaries across the country and in diaspora to come and donate to the victim of insurgency. They want to take it by themselves.
All right.
And the government deliberately stopped them from holding that event.
Okay,
they asked the security operative to stop them. And there is this high rising issue of HIV/AIDS in the camps. Just from January this year to March, over 3,800 new cases were recorded of HIV/AIDS.
Wow.
And there isn't any support from the government. The government agencies that are involved in taking care of the HIV/AIDS said the state government have not paid counterpart funding for over 2 years.
Okay,
and when the IDPs of Dikwa returned to Dikwa, we've recorded new cases of HIV, about 520 in just 1 month in Dikwa, and there isn't any support from the side of government.
All right, let's link the HIV/AIDS. It is. Let's link the HIV/AIDS to also the allegations of officials exchanging sex for food. If these people are hungry and they demand sex from them and they give them food, is that true?
Yes, absolutely. We have seen many cases like that, where IDPs have to give themselves out for sex purposes, and in return they get food items, and that shows you how the HIV/AIDS is rising in the camps, because there is this allegation most of this sex scandal is being conducted by officials and those secure them. And that brings about the issue of the HIV/AIDS, because most of these the HIV/AIDS disease are being contacted in the camps. So you can imagine how they get involved in getting this disease. It is in exchange of food items.
By officials, can you be more specific? Rema, can you be more specific by officials? Which officials now is demanding sex for food? Which one?
Well, we have seen report by the Human Rights Watch that a lot of security personnel have been indicted of harassing, raping, and maltreating IDPs in the camps. We have seen the report. Sometimes 2 or 3 months ago, the National Human Rights Commission has released a report that about 43 IDPs came up and confessed by themselves that they were sexually assaulted by camps officials.
All right.
They were forced to do so.
I guess this really calls for the need for IDPs to return home, which is the ultimate thing. They should be assisted to return home. If they are willing to go back home, they should be assisted to go back home so that we don't have cases of all of this. Grandma Tarab, thank you very much for talking to us this morning, and thanks for sharing all the revelations with us on the program. We'll keep a tab on you on developments there. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, Grandma Tarab is the former chairman, Borno State Emergency Management Agency. And as it is, we have
gum-smacking revelations there, really. The officials, security officials, asking for sex in place of money.
Well, all these allegations, well, sometime we had the head of the security agency via Skype or satellite, and they denied some of these allegations. So there has to be proper investigation, because all of these allegations may not just come up from the skies. someone would have felt something and felt aggrieved before coming up with such kind of allegations. But on the other hand, too, if you have to be fair, you need to get to know the circumstance by which all of these allegations are coming up. But investigation had to be carried out so that people can really know what is going on.
What circumstance would be okay for a security personnel who is meant to watch over you, demanding for sex? There's no circumstance that should be okay with
well,
that.
in human life, strange things happen sometimes.
There you go again.